Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we're going to learn what is translation.
According to Cambridge Dictionary, a translation is the activity or process of changing the words of one language into the words in another language that have the same meaning. According to Peter Newmark in his book entitled A Textbook of Translation, he stated that translation is the process of rendering the meaning of a text into another language in the way that the author intended the text. According to Eugene Ida in the book Context in Translating, he said that translation is an act of producing in a receptor language the closest natural equivalent of the source text.
In the process of translation, there are source language and target language. The source language is the original language of the text or content that needs to be translated, while the target language is the language into which the source content is translated.
There are several things to consider in translation. First, the meaning of the source text should be approximately similar with the target text. Second, the structure of source text will be preserved as closely as possible, but not so closely as it might affect the naturalness of target text. Third, effective translation requires a deep understanding of both source language and target language, as well as knowledge of cultural nuances and other contextual factors that may affect the meaning of the original text. Now, let's learn more about the previous explanation. First is preserving the meaning. The meaning of the source text should be approximately similar with the target text. For example, I can't wait to see the beautiful scenery of Bali. In Indonesian, we could say, aku sangat menantikan pemandangan indah di Bali. The expression I can't wait to see is not translated literally into aku tidak bisa menunggu untuk melihat, because it will drastically change the meaning. Instead, it is translated to aku sangat menantikan, or in other words, I really look forward to. Second, preserving the structure. The structure of source text is preserved as closely as possible, but not so closely as it might affect the naturalness of target text. For example, he sends me a letter every weekend. In Indonesian, we could say, dia mengirimkanku sepucuk surat tiap akhir pekan. The phrase, he sent me a letter, is an example of the transitive verb, a verb that takes two objects to complete its meaning in a sentence. The word me is indirect object, and the words letter are the direct object. In the Indonesian version, the transitive verb is written as dia mengirimkanku sepucuk surat. Third, considering the cultural nuances and context. A translator should have a deep understanding of the cultural nuances of both source language and target language. For example, in Indonesian, there is an expression, mohon maaf lahir dan batin. In Indonesia, it is commonly used especially around the Islamic holiday of Eid al-Fitr as a way of seeking and offering forgiveness. If we translate it literally into English, it would be, I apologize body and soul, which of course does not have the same meaning with the source text. Therefore, to maintain the meaning and context, we can translate it into, I apologize for any mistake I may have made.
So that was the definition of translation and the things to consider in a translation process. Now your assignment is, you need to read the short story of the Prophet Hud, peace be upon him. Translate the story into Bahasa Indonesia and make sure you consider the meaning, the structure, and the cultural nuances of the story. You're going to submit it to me today. Thank you very much for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.